There is one secret Klaviyo flow that literally turns cold prospects into paying customers in just 2 days. It's not abandoned checkout, it's not abandoned cart, it's not browse abandonment, it's not even site abandonment. It's completely new separate flow that works insanely well for dozens of 7 and 8 figure brands and turns cold prospects into paying customers willing to give you cash on autopilot again in just 2 days. And I'm even going to read an example of how to do it in 25 hours. So this is the flow itself. As you can see, it's called window shoppers, mainly because these people are really interested in buying from you. Their buying intent is very, very high. It's probably higher than, again, site and browse abandonment flows. It might be, comparable to abandoned checkout buying intent flow, but in general, it can be very profitable and your revenue per recipient can be higher than welcome flow or abandoned checkout flow, which is really insane. The revenue from this flow alone probably won't be higher than the welcome flow, but in general, it's still going to be extremely profitable, mainly because it's going to be targeting only high buying intent people. It's going to be triggered off of this segment, which I'm going to show you how to create in Klaviyo in just a second, but overall, this is going to be your base for this segment. You're going to be triggering it off of this one, and then you're going to send them 3 emails within the 24 hours or 25 or 40 49 essentially. So pretty much 1 or 2 days where they're going to give the full path. And yes, this flow is a little bit aggressive, but that's on purpose because overall I'm not a fan of being super aggressive with your emails and being very pushy and salesy and all of this stuff. But this flow, in my opinion, is the best way to do it, or the best place to do it, because the buying intent of those people is so high. So the time delay is going to be 1 hour after they join the segment, just so they're not getting bombarded with some other emails. And then email number 1 is going to be giving them incentive and showing reviews. Again, I'm not a big fan of giving the discount in the first email usually, but this one is an exception just because their buying intent is so high. They most likely know your product, they know your brand, they know what you do, so they need really just one last push to actually make the purchase. So one of the best ways to do that is give them discount, so lower price, and then also show them reviews, so social proof. Because if they're hesitating, being like, I don't know if I should buy from them, I don't know if it's even going to work, then they're like, hey, you just, check it out, it's actually going to work. It works great, plus you have a discount, which is time limited. If you don't use it, then you're just going to have to pay the full price. This would be the first email. For the second and third one, the time delays are going to be the same, so either 12 or 24 hours. Where you want to test it, you don't want to be just around 12 hours and that's it. Maybe in your case, 24 hours between each email, do better. So A/B test it. It's a very simple A/B test, which I'll show you how to do as well. Just hold on. But it's very, very simple. And again, this is very, very short time delay, but that's because you want to get them really all of this messaging within 1 day. Because if they're expressing high buying intent, it won't last forever. You just have a specific time window where you can actually make the prospect convert. And if you won't do it within this window, then the chances of them converting are dropping drastically by 80 to even 90%, okay? So email number 2 is going to be comparing yourself versus competitors. The reason behind it being that if someone is really interested in buying from you, they're most likely looking at other solutions, and they're most likely interested in buying the product as a solution in general. So they're just comparing you to other competitors, okay? That's why you need to show them hey, no, our solution is superior, it's better because XYZ, and just mention your USPs. You can even do a simple comparison table and then remind them about the discount so they can actually save on the order, which that in itself is, a decent reason for them to buy in itself. The last email is going to be about urgency, and this one is really salesy. In my opinion, probably one of the, most salesy flows emails that you're going to have in any of the flows. And you just want to push them with urgency, remind them about the incentive expiring soon, so make it a last call email, and then talk about guarantees. So this email creates urgency, gives them really last chance to buy at a discount or at a cheaper price, and then removes the risk by showing guarantees. So money back guarantee, satisfaction guarantee, easy refund policies or hassle-free returns, whatever. Just mention all of that so they feel okay, I know it works, I know why they are better, and I know that they have guarantees. Plus they're giving me a discount, there's really no reason why I shouldn't buy it. And they might be thinking yeah, but they probably don't remember about reviews or anything. Well, that's why you send the emails so fast. If you send all of this in 1 day, they're going to know who you are, which that in itself is going to help you tremendously. And they probably remember your previous emails, but if not, they're gonna be like, yeah, I think they sent me something with reviews. Let me search it up. They're gonna look the email that they got from you the other day. They'll be like, okay, cool. So they have these reviews. This is why they're better. Okay, let me just buy it and get it. So it's very, very, very powerful flow where essentially if you look at those emails, if you want to do it like very, low effort on your side, you can just clone your existing either abandoned cart or browse abandonment flow. Usually I recommend browse abandonment flow. And from emails 3 to 5 from my structure, which you can watch another video, but essentially these emails are pretty much emails 3 to 5 from our browse abandonment flow. You can clone this flow and just change the trigger to be this flow or this segment, and it's going to print. Like you don't need to create the whole new flow from scratch. You can, and you should if you have the resources, but if you really want to make it low effort and create a new flow that prints cash for pretty much, I don't know, like 30 to 60 minutes of your work, then clone your browse abandonment flow and set up this flow and it's going to absolutely print. So let me show you how to do it in Klaviyo in general, okay? Because as you can see, this segment itself is called potential purchasers flow, and that's because we have a separate potential purchasers segment that we use for campaigns, and I'm going to show you what is the difference in just a second. So in order to do it, you need to go to your list and segments, then you click on create new, create segment. You're going to name it potential purchasers flow, right? And then you can just pause the video essentially and use the same definition that I have. So it will be someone can receive email marketing and someone has done placed order 0 times overall time, because again, this flow is going to be only targeting non-buyers. We don't really want to be targeting buyers because if you look at the other part of the definition, they are very, very high intent. And if someone is an existing customer, maybe, 3 days after they bought from you, they are, just actively browsing on site and watching some other products and so on. And you don't want to be, attacking them with salesy content if they just bought from you. That just wouldn't really make sense. And again, this is also better just for analytics to see how many non-buyers actually get turned into, paying customers with this flow itself, okay? And then we go to the other criteria, which is like once they are a non-buyer, what they have done active on site is at least twice in the last 30 days, or what someone has done, viewed product is at least twice in the last 30 days, or clicked email is at least twice in the last 30 days, okay? So this is this part of the segment. And now if we wouldn't have this other part, which I'm going to show you how to do in a second, this in itself could be your potential purchasers segment for targeting people within the campaigns. And the idea would be the exact same, that if they're high buying, prospects, you can either send them this flow or you can also include them in your campaigns. And usually if you do this segment is going to be one of the better performing ones in terms of clicks, conversions, and sales as well. So you can just use it as well. But now we want to add more filters, because if we just trigger the flow off of this segment, we would be getting people who are also in your other pre-purchase flows, which is not ideal because you don't want to have any overlap at all. So what you're going to do is someone has done, received email 0 times in the last 15 days, where flow equals, and then you would enter what flow that is, okay? So in our case, I'm going to do all pre-purchase flows. So you would need to do it for abandoned checkout, abandoned cart, browse abandonment, and site abandonment. So that we are making sure, but adding those filters, that none of the people that are in your pre-purchase flows are going to get this flow. Okay, and this is very important because you really don't want to have an overlap. This flow in itself should be targeting everyone who is not currently or hasn't been in the last 15 days in any other pre-purchase flow, okay? That's why 15 days, because if they haven't been in any of those flows for the last 2 weeks, then you absolutely need to send them this flow. So you would do, for example, abandoned checkout, just like that. Then once again, end, right? Because you don't want to be getting anyone from your pre-purchase flow. So instead of or, it's gonna be end for all of the flows. And the same thing, what someone has done, received email 0 times in the last 15 days, where flow equals abandoned cart in this case, okay? And once again, you're adding one more filter, what someone has done, received email 0 times in the last 15 days, where flow equals browse abandonment in this case, okay? And one last filter, same thing, just repetitive a little bit, but this is what you need to do. In the last 15 days, where flow equals site abandonment, okay? And this is the exact definition for your flow. Again, right now it shows some weird, letters because these are some other flows from some other account. But overall, this is the flow that you want to create, where you exclude anyone who has been in your abandoned checkout flow, abandoned cart flow, a browse abandonment, and side abandonment flows in the last 15 days. And then you just simply click on create segment. Obviously, it's going to take a second to create it. But yeah, after it's done, I'm going to show you how to create the flow. But this is super, super important. And one more important thing is that if you have something like retention.com, Elevar, Aimers, anything else, you would also need to add those flows as well. So it would be and someone received email 0 times in the last 15 days, where flow equals abandoned checkout Elevar or abandoned cart Elevar, and so on and so on. So you really want to exclude anyone from this segment. And once you have it, you go to flows. You can click on create flow, build your own. We can call it window shoppers, right? Create flow. And then for the trigger, you're going to do add it to segment. And then, this segment is not showing up. Okay, it is showing up. I thought it's still populating. So we'd click on this segment that I just created, potential purchaser flow, save, confirm and save. And then you want to add one more filter. So profile filter, what someone has done, placed order 0 times since starting this flow. This way you're excluding anyone who has, placed an order, so that if someone opened or clicked an email number 1 and they placed an order, you don't need to send them the other emails. That's why we have this filter. And you don't need a filter, like even if you would like to add it, you can't do a filter that someone has not been in this flow in the last 15 days, mainly because someone can join the segment just once. So by definition, someone can get this flow only once, because even if they go out of the segment, and they pretty much won't go back. Only if they go back, they probably would have purchased anyway, so they wouldn't be getting this flow at all, okay? So then what you're doing is obviously dragging time delay, making it 1 hour. Then you drag the email and set up the emails. If you don't know how to do it, I've got a bunch of other, case studies and tutorials on how to set up emails in Klaviyo, so make sure that you do it. But this is how you would do the first email. And then for conditional split, you would also do 50-50 test for the time delay, just like I told you, where again, you do a 50-50 split. And then you want to test 12 hours versus 24 hours. So for time delay, on one hand, you would have 12 hours, okay? And then for the other time delay, you would have 1 day. Right, and then you would have pretty much the same thing. So I'm just gonna very quickly clone it. You would have email number 2 over here. Email number 2. Then you hit on save. Then you would click on clone. You would do the same email number 2 on the left hand side, and then another time delay 12 hours, and then 1 day. And this is really important that you run this test, because again, we've seen cases where, we had brands where the better performing version outperformed the worst one, the underperforming version, by like 2x. So it means that, for example, the faster time delay, being 12 hours, was doing twice as many sales than the one on the left, okay? So if the faster version did 10k in sales, the right one would do 5k in sales, which is just tremendous and huge difference. But yeah, this is pretty much how you set up this flow. One more important thing is that if you want to have this flow perform well, you must have your deliverability in place. And if you want to learn how to do it, there's going to be a link below this video, which is a complete deliverability masterclass showing you exactly how to get your emails out of the spam folder into the primary tab and get like 40 to 50% open rates on all of your emails. So make sure you download it. It's entirely free. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you watch my other one, which is going to be recommended by YouTube. Thank you. Cheers.